Sixth lesson. If it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium.
Is there anything more frustrating than trudging down the high street in the pouring rain and stopping to look in a travel agent's window? Jet to the sun. Take a winter break. Sea, sun and sand.
Whether it is a day trip to the seaside or a package tour to a foreign resort, people are traveling in greater numbers than ever before. Of course, there have always been jet-setters and globe-trotters, but the average holiday-maker has such a choice of destinations and packages that he often ends up staying at home.
The traveler intent on luxury may book a round-the-world cruise, stopping over in several countries, or buy a first-class return ticket on a scheduled airline to some exotic destination.
A more economical way of seeing the world is to take a charter flight and stay half board in a hotel.
Cheaper still is to hitchhike and to thumb a ride overland to the Far East, living out of a suitcase and sleeping in the open, the dream of American youth in the 1950s.
When you arrive at your destination, you can do the sights or laze on the beach and soak up the sun.
Perhaps the most exotic holiday of the future would be a voyage to the moon, or perhaps another planet with a better atmosphere.
The armchair traveller can visit the world without going further than the local library or bookshop.
Borders are becoming easier to cross, with fewer customs formalities.
In the U.S., you can drive thousands of miles west to east without changing countries, but the Briton first has to cross the Channel, which often proves to be the biggest hurdle of all.
Some British people believe that foreigners begin at Calais, but others, more parochial, believe they start at Dover.
Two Frenchmen touring Britain by car were driving through the Lake District and were moved by the beauty of the landscape.
"You know, this really is a lovely country," said one.
"I agree," replied his companion. "Thank God they can't cook it."
Back in the 60s, the U.S. Army was using the lure of foreign travel to attract recruits.
A group of students produced a spoof on the recruiting poster which read,
"Join the army. Travel to exotic countries. Meet exciting new people. And kill them."
The campaign was not very successful.
Exercises.
"Do we stop over in New York?"
No, our first stopover is Chicago.
There was such a choice of films that I ended up staying at home.
He had to take an exam, and that was the biggest hurdle of all.
Back in the 50s, few people had television.
They tried to hitchhike to California, but they weren't very successful.
I wanted to laze on the beach, but he insisted on doing the sights.